Village Board meeting Tuesday, September 10th. If we'll all stand, we'll have Trustee Sabo lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Costa?
Present.
Trustee DeVivo?
Present.
Trustee Kajanis?
Present.
Trustee Sabo?
Present.
Trustee Suisse?
Present.
Trustee Yukich?
Present.
Mayor Daley?
Present. Are there any amendments to the agenda? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of August 13th, 2013?
So moved.
First by that was Trustee Yukich,
Second.
second by Trustee Costa. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Okay, under recognition and proclamations, is there a motion to approve the attached proclamation designating September 19th as Clara Marzik Day in the Village of Homer Glen in honor of Mrs. Marzik's 90th birthday?
So moved.
First by Trustee Costa,
Second.
second by Trustee Yukich. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee DeVivo?
Aye.
Trustee Kajanis?
Aye.
Trustee Sabo?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Yukich?
Aye.
Motion carries. Unfortunately, Claire is not feeling well and can't be with us here this evening. Clara's son, Joseph, will accept this proclamation on her behalf. I'm going to read this proclamation and then present Joseph with the proclamation to take home to his mom. Whereas Clara Marzek was born Clara, give me a little hand here, Joe. Sazazinski, on September 19, 1923 in Chicago, Illinois. And whereas Clara spent her young adult life in the Brighton Park neighborhood of Chicago with her 5 siblings, John, Irene, Stephanie, Sabine, and Richard. And whereas while in her 20s, Clara met the love of her life, Edwin, at a dance, and they married in 1950. From this union, 4 children were born. And whereas Clara raised her 2 daughters and 2 sons, who expanded the family by adding 11 grandchildren, and in the very near future, a great-grandchildren, a child. And whereas Clara has lived in Homer Glen since 1979, devoted her time to taking care of her children, volunteering for the Homer Township Senior Group, and was the secretary of St. Bernard's Confectionery and Christian Woman. And whereas Clara also enjoys cooking, spending time with family and friends, and family gatherings, and playing bingo. And whereas Clara is turning 90 on September 19th and has been a blessing to all she has come in contact with over the past 90 years. She is joined by close family and friends in celebrating her birthday this year. Now therefore be proclaimed by the Mayor and Board of Trustees of the Village of Homer Glen that September 19, 2013 is designated as Clara Marzik Day in the Village of Homer Glen, Will County, Illinois. Furthermore, I do hereby encourage all fellow residents, friends, family, and friends to pay tribute to Mrs. Marzik on her 90th birthday and wish her health and happiness to all of her days to come, dated this 10th day of September 2013. Come on up. Is there a motion to approve a proclamation in support of National Public Lands Day and designating September 28, 2013 as Homer Glen Lands Day?
I so move.
First by Trustee Sabo,
Second.
second by Trustee Kajanis. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
I'd like you to read the proclamation.
I will read the proclamation for you. Is there any further discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee DeVivo. Trustee Kajanis. Trustee Sabo.
Aye.
Trustee Suisse.
Aye.
Trustee Yukich.
Aye.
Trustee Costa.
Aye.
Motion carries. You're making me do a lot of reading here tonight. A proclamation in support of National Public Lands Day and designating September 28, 2013 as Homer Glen Lands Day. Whereas since 1994, the National Education and Training Foundation in Washington, D.C. has organized and sponsored National Public Lands Day as a show of support for recognizing and protecting significant areas in the natural environment. And whereas September 28th has been designated as National Public Lands Day for year 2013. And whereas the Village of Homer Glen was founded and incorporated in large part due to the desires of its citizens to preserve the unique and diverse components of the natural environment within the village. And whereas in recognition and support of National Public Lands Day, the Mayor and Village Board of Trustees wish to establish a Homer Glen Lands Day in and for the Village of Homer Glen. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the President and Board of Trustees of the Village of Homer Glen that September 28, 2013 shall be Homer Glen Lands Day. Be it further proclaimed that the Mayor and the Board of Trustees designate Homer Glen Lands Day as a day of which all residents of the Village of Homer Glen are encouraged to appreciate the diversity and quality of the natural environment within the Village of Homer Glen, and to take steps to assist in the future protection and beautification of that environment. Approved this 10th day of September 2013. Okay. That concludes recognition and proclamations. The next portion of this meeting would be reports and communications from the mayor and other officers. I'll begin. Under new businesses, making Homer Glen their home. The law firm Brumman, Jacobs, Hamill, Davidson, and Andriano, LLC, has signed a lease for a big 2,600 square foot space at 13963 South Bell Road, next to La Crepe Bistro. The firm will be bringing numerous attorneys and support staff to the Village Glen location. The build-out plans have already been submitted to the village for staff review. I look forward to welcoming yet another new business to Homer Glen. Under the Old Oak Subdivision Stormwater Improvement Project, this week I'll be distributing a letter to all 150 homes in the Oak Valley subdivision regarding the village's outstanding stormwater improvement project in that subdivision. I'd like to read you the contents of that brief letter. Dear Oak Valley subdivision residents, greetings from the Village Hall. I'm happy to write to you today as the Village 2013 Oak Valley Stormwater Improvement Project is moving towards completion. The newly improved Oak Valley Stormwater Detention Area has certainly been transformed. Over 100 truckloads of material were removed from the old detention area, resulting in significant improved stormwater storage capacity for your subdivision. The village is happy to improve this important stormwater resource in the Oak Valley subdivision. I want to thank your Homeowners Association Board and all of the residents of Oak Valley who patiently experienced this important village improvement project. The Village of Homer Glen works. We are looking forward to completing more stormwater improvement projects in the community over the coming years. The village will work hard to ensure that all of our future stormwater improvement projects turn out as great as this one did in your subdivision. My best to you and your family. Respectfully, Jim Daly, Mayor. Under achievement, congratulations to Homer Glen resident, LTHS sophomore lacrosse player, Brian Potesta, for being honored with the Coaches Award for the New Wave Vault Team. New Wave is an elite travel program based in Naperville. Last year, Brian was also the only freshman on the LTHS varsity lacrosse team that was named All-Conference. Okay, under medical cannabis discussion. I'd like to speak to you a bit today about the Village's Plan Commission ongoing discussion about medical cannabis zoning. I'll read this and then I'll make it short so you get it. I've become aware of some misinformation that is being spread across the community, and I'd like to set the record straight again on why the Plan Commission is having this discussion. This past year, the Illinois legislature passed a medical cannabis pilot program that Governor Quinn proceeded to sign into law on August 1st. With the passage of this new law, Illinois joins 19 other states and the District of Columbia in the legalization of medical cannabis. The new state law allows for a qualified patient to obtain 2.5 ounces of cannabis every 14 days. In order to be considered as a qualified patient, a person must suffer from a debilitating medical condition. Approximately 30 medical conditions are specifically listed in the Act under debilitating medical conditions. Qualified patients who have registered with the Department of Public Health and have obtained a written certification from their physician can obtain their medical cannabis from a state licensed and regulated medical cannabis dispensary organization. According to the new state law, there can be up to 60 dispensary organizations allowed in the state of Illinois. Dispensing organizations must be geographically spaced and cannot be located within 1,000 feet of the property line of an existing school or child care facility. Dispensing facilities also cannot be located in any apartments, condominiums, homes, or any area zoned residential. Also, the new state law states that the cannabis that is distributed at the dispensary organization is permitted to be grown at cultivation centers. Up to 22 cultivation centers, one per Illinois State Police District boundary, are permitted in Illinois state licensed and regulated registered cultivation centers must not be located within 2,500 feet of the property lines of any schools or daycare facilities or any area zoned for residential use. Because the state of Illinois has approved this new medical cannabis law, many communities in Illinois, including Homer Glen, have been studying their zoning codes to determine how these new cannabis dispensaries and cultivation centers fit into the existing municipal code. The goal is to be proactive and not reactive in Homer Glen, to make sure that Homer Glen's zoning ordinance appropriately regulates newly approved state uses. According to the Section 140 of the Medical Cannabis Act, a unit of local government like Homer Glen may enact reasonable zoning ordinances or resolutions not in conflict with the Act or with Department of Agriculture or Department of Public Health rules, regulating registered medical cannabis cultivation centers and/or medical cannabis dispensary organizations. The Plan Commission continues their very professional review of this matter. Village staff has already recommended that these two medical marijuana uses only be allowed in the village's industrial zone property and only as a special use, which allows for significant controls. As Village Attorney Sturk has advised, and I quote, "As a general proposition, the village has the authority to zone cannabis stores into specific areas." So in summary, the Village Plan Commission and staff are doing the right thing by being proactive about the issue of the state-sanctioned medical marijuana in order to protect the village of Homer Glen. I appreciate the Plan Commission's proactive approach. A recommendation from the Plan Commission should be forthcoming later this fall. No one is saying that anybody has applied for a medical marijuana dispensary. This is just, it's creating an area where if it was issued, it would have to go in this zoning classification in these specific areas, which is the industrial park. So that's where that one's at. I've heard we've approved marijuana, we've approved dispensaries, growing places. That simply is not true. So we're just doing a zoning classification for it so it goes in one specific location. Okay, Northern Will County Water Agency update. As I reported at the last board meeting, there was a Northern Will County Water Agency meeting yesterday in Woodridge. At the meeting, $77,337.93 in legal and engineering invoices was approved for payment, $15,889.85 of which will be Homer Glen's responsibility. In addition, the Water Agency Board approved the 2013-14 fiscal year budget for the agency in the amount of $662,500. Also, the agency board approved the hiring of Mike Dre as an agent and consultant for the agency in relation to the ongoing litigation with American Lake Water, Illinois American Water, regarding the purchase of the Bedford Park water transmission line. Mr. Dre's entire salary as a consultant will be paid for by the Village of Bolingbrook. Mr. Dre had a long history of working in water issues as a Bolingbrook staff member prior to his recent retirement. In terms of litigation with Illinois American Water, the water agency of which Homer Glen is a part, has agreed to the following. September 30th is the deadline for the agency to respond to American Lake Water's first set of interrogatories and requests for information. 2, American Lake Water's depositions related to traverse issues are to be completed before December 13th, 2013, unless continued. And 3, December 20th, 2013 is the deadline for American Lake Water, Illinois American Water, to file a traverse. And that concludes the mayor's report. We'll start out with the trustees. How about with Trustee Costa?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a brief comment. I know Trustee Sways is going to comment on Homer Harvest Days, but I just want to say that this past weekend we had Homer Harvest Days again and had some tremendous comments from both the residents and fest goers and vendors and demonstrators of how well run it was. They noticed we had expanded some of the activities that we had for the families, and they look forward to coming to it every year, and they said this year was probably the best one they've had. So I just wanted to pass that on. Congratulations to the committee. They did a great job, and all the volunteers, but that's all.
Thank you, Trustee Costa. Trustee Yukich?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I concur with Trustee Costa. The weekend was great. Weather was good. Volunteers were phenomenal. The committee did an absolutely great job. There was a million things to do there. It was very enjoyable. So I have to give kudos to the committee on that one. Second, Safety Committee meets tomorrow night for the leaf burning issue. So if you're interested, come on by. Should be a good discussion. That's all, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Yukich. Trustee Sabo?
Thank you. Yes, it was a great event. We had lots of comments and compliments, and I hope that everyone will continue to support that event and be as happy as the people were this past year. I'm reporting on behalf of the Environment Committee for the tree inventory in Emerald Ash Borer as the first subject. Natural Path Consultants began the tree inventory on Homer Glen public property and public right-of-ways. They are identified by orange T-shirts and vests and carry identification. The goal is to identify trees, their location, and if they are infested with harmful insects such as emerald ash borer. The work will not be done on a private property. The village is seeking volunteers to help with data collection. A volunteer training session is set for Saturday, September 21st, starting at 8:30 a.m. It's in-class room instruction to learn how to identify species and record measurements. Contact Sue Stylen at the village office to sign up, and you'll see more information on the website. The Environment Committee will be rescheduling their September 8th meeting to Wednesday, September 18th at 7 p.m. Outdoor lighting ordinance, the Environment Committee is reviewing the draft amendments to the outdoor lighting ordinance that took place at the joint subcommittee meetings with CED committee. Information will be shared with both CED and Environment subcommittees at this time. Homer Glen Lands Day. Homer Glen Lands Day Community and Nature and Harmony Awards will be given to 15 deserving recipients at the Village Board meeting of October 8th. Recognition will be to individuals, businesses, groups, or organizations for their demonstration and commitment to the environment and contributing to community pride. The Homer Township Library grounds will be the site for the tree planting. That's the second part of Homer Glen Lands Day, and the date will be announced soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Sabo. Trustee K. Janice?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Upcoming, we will have an economic development meeting on the 12th of September. So I look forward to reporting after that meeting. As always, the Economic Development Committee is proponents on economic development in our community, and that is with not only businesses but all residents as a whole. We look forward to continuing our efforts to review and discuss any and all ordinances that may be barriers and roadblocks to success for our businesses and our residents. So again, we look forward to the upcoming meetings.
Okay, thank you, Trustee K. Janice. Trustee Suisse?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Reporting for the Homer Harvest Days Committee, the weather cooperated and the event went very well, with everyone saying they had a delightful time. Attendance was very good and estimated to be about 4,000. The demonstrations were very popular, especially the firing of the Civil War cannon replica. Children had a great time, from riding the ponies to making waxed hands and corn husk dolls. And there was also a lot more, I believe there was a lot more kid-friendly activities this year. The Civil War demonstrators from Taylor's Battery sent an email yesterday stating that it was a well-run event and fun for them to be a participant. He stated it was a better historical day event than some of the others they attended, and they hope to come back next year. An event like this could never take place without all the support and assistance provided by the many terrific volunteers, the village, township, EMA, highway department, Will County Sheriff's Auxiliary, and many more. Then, just a reminder from the Environment Committee that the next stargazing event is on Friday, September 27th, starting at 8 p.m. at the Trantina Farm. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Suisse. You know, as I pulled up, I didn't know the cannon, he had the cannon, and it went off. I went, oh my God, I hope something didn't blow up. I just got out of my car and I was like, Trustee DeVivo?
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to report Erin Hills Park is moving forward and starting to look like a real park. The play equipment is being put together and the permeable pavers are being installed. I encourage everyone to take a look at the progress. Thank you, Mayor. That's my report.
Thank you, Trustee DeVivo. Is there a treasurer's report?
No, Mayor, there's no treasurer.
Is there a clerk's report?
No report, Mr. Mayor.
Is there a village attorney report?
No report this evening, Mr. Mayor.
Is there any task force chairpersons? Okay. How about any public safety officials? All right. How about the village manager?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a brief report. The Long Run Creek cleanup project will be taking place in late October. That date will be finalized later this week. It'll be the first cleanup program that the village and the Township Highway Department have done together, along with the residents who live along the creek. That'll be happening in late October. There'll be a letter actually going out next week to all the Long Run Creek residents, and then we'll send out a couple more letters on top of that to before the event occurs. On the picture tonight, you know, as you travel on 143rd, the Victorian Village project is kind of happening beyond the piles of dirt a little bit, and the topography doesn't let you take a real good look at it from the street. So Joe and I thought it would be good to put this picture up here in case people haven't been by the project to see how good they're going. This is actually a picture of Building B. There's 3 buildings, A, B, and C. And Building B, the roof is about 90% complete. The interior, mechanical, plumbing, and electricity are all getting installed right now. Building A, the foundation is complete. Underground electric and plumbing are all complete also. They're going to start putting up the walls either later this week or early next. And then Building C, the masonry elevator shafts have been completed and the walls will start going up next week. So they're a little bit behind just because of various things with weather and things like that, but they're moving forward and the project is really looking great. If you get a chance to swing in and drive around and take a look at it, I'd encourage you to do so. Mayor, that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Cam. Okay, the next portion of this meeting would be public comment. Try to keep it to 3 minutes. You step up to the podium, you give your name and address for the record. The first person is Marvin Pickering.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, trustees. I just wanted to give you a brief summary of the teleconference regarding the air monitor. This was held, as you know, we wanted to get it before your meeting so that you would have some idea about what was happening and what did happen. It lasted about 2 hours. There were representatives there online. In fact, Lindsay Soul represented the township online, so that EPA was also present. As you know, perhaps the EPA did not grant us a monitor, and while we may have lost out on that issue, we found out some very important information, which was quite startling. First of all, they did not seem to be familiar with their own annual reports. We had to fax them 2 different sheets of data pertaining to sulfur dioxide in Will County, which they wanted to know where we got where'd you get that data from? And it was from their own reports. They did not seem to be aware of any cooperative project, which cooperative projects are mentioned in their report. 41 monitors, we thought, wow, 41 monitors. They had 214 monitors in 2010. They only had 173 in 2011. Maybe we can get one of those monitors. Oh, they said, oh no, we've cannibalized them. We've had to take them apart, take pieces of them, and we're down to 173 monitors as of 2011. Now, the 2012 report comes out in November of this year. That's how far behind they are on last year's report. So we don't know what's going to happen there. CARE was basically upset, and so we're also concerned about the SO2 monitor, which was pulled from Joliet. Now, that SO2 monitor is next to 2 coal burning plants.
Marvin, we need to move it along. We've got a lot of speakers.
And basically, that SO2 monitor, they said, was pulled because there wasn't low readings. And we can't believe there's low readings when you have all of those things in that area. We did find out. Will County is now in non-attainment for ozone and PM 2.5. That'll be in the 2012 report. So things are getting worse. It's not just Lockport Township and Lamont and so on. CARE has developed an acid rain project, and we'd like you to participate. You can simply email to arp2013@core.com. Get a packet, test the rain. We can prove to you we've got acid rain in the area. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next speaker would be Ed Carafin.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, I didn't put my name on there.
Okay. The speaker after that would be Rose Reiners. Try to keep it to 3 minutes.
Good evening, Mayor, trustees. For those of
Hey,
you
Rose,
who
you might want to pull that thing down a little bit.
don't-
There we
Okay,
go.
short people, what could I say? For those of you who don't know me, my name is Rose Reinders. I'm the owner of Taza Italian Ristorante, 14065 South Bell Road. I have been a business owner in this town for 10 years. Last year, my son and I decided to open up a boutique bakery, Something Sweet Cupcake Boutique. I designed the inside of the interior, and my son basically did the build-out. I designed the sign for the cupcake. As you can see, Something Sweet. We brought it along for you to see it tonight. When I applied for the sign permit, I was denied. I was told that my sign was too large for the space. Show you the space. Real quick. This is the frontage of the store. As you can see, this is my space from here to here, and this is Supercut space from here to here, and they are actually infringing upon my space. It's a unique situation because of the pillars. I was also told that my sign is a box sign. I was told I could file for a variance, which would cost between $800 to $1,400 if legal fees were incurred. If approved, you can put up your sign. I would just like everybody to know here that I think this is an excessive amount and very discouraging for new businesses. I believe the sign review process has too many procedural objectives. I believe that this causes enormous hardship on new businesses, especially when 60% of the signs in this village are non-compliant. They are box signs, panel signs, and I know that they're grandfathered in, but just the same, they're still non-compliant. A business without a sign is a sign of no business. I have spent a lot of time researching the sign ordinances of other towns: Orland, Lamont, Oak Brook, Burridge, Hinsdale. Not one has mandated individual channel letter signs, nor have they outlawed or do they require a variance for cabinet or box signs. To quote Trustee Kajanis, we are showing people just how business friendly we are. Come to Homer Glen, we will make you wait, we will make you pay more money because we want to dissect, analyze, and critique your business. That all the bad rumors about us not being business friendly are not true. but they are very true. Trustee Kajanis, I couldn't agree with you more, but I'm only sorry that you don't show that same passion for the existing businesses in this town that are experiencing stumbling blocks. All these rules and regulations are a constant impediment on the economic development of this community. Businesses are turning away from us, and this is just another example of the government trying to control the way we do business. And we all know we have all these empty storefronts. And in closing, on a funnier note, I would like to bring this to the attention of Mayor Daley. This is Olive Garden. And just so you know,
Hard to see from here.
Olive Garden, their signs are not according to our village ordinances. They have very large signs, they have neon lettering signs on a pan, and they have approximately 6 signs per building.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
What I would suggest, Rose, is that it's pretty obvious that the way that building was put together, there's columns that go through the building that take up the space that the adjacent unit should be entitled to because it's their storefront behind it, which you showed before if you look at those columns. I would view that because, why don't you point once again to where your building goes to the right?
This is my space from this line to this line, which is 18.8 feet.
Yeah.
And from this line to this line is 17.6 feet. Now,
See, the way, here's the way I look at this. That building with the storefronts, the way it is in the columns, I would apply for a hardship through a variance and say, ask for some type of leniency on the fee for the variance. And I think the Plan Commission and the board would see that space you're renting is on both sides of that column, which compromises your space to be able to advertise your store. The sign, I'll leave that to Aaron to explain the difference between a box sign and not a box sign. But the thing about it is that our ordinance currently calls for no box signs. So that's a separate issue in itself. Aaron, why don't you just describe what the deal is?
Well, I could do it real quick.
Go ahead.
Since 2006, this is 2006, you've required box signs. So, individual letter signs, pull this up. So the trouble that she's running into is that the ordinance doesn't currently allow what she's asking for. So then staff says, you should apply for a variance, maybe there's a hardship, and you'll be able to install the sign as you see it. The cost to do variances for signs, could run her upwards of $1,000. So I think that's a number one concern that she's, one of the concerns that she's communicated to staff too. But as you know, the fees for those sign requirements have been in the books for a long time. And the board has been looking at various fees over the past couple years. EDC's recommended a number of fee reductions and the board has approved them. So this might be one that you want to look at too. But as you quickly look down the street, these are all individual letter signs. They're her neighbors up and down the street here. They're just one after another. These are all individual letter signs. So this is the predominant, it's her business, individual letters, Home Depot. This is the predominant signage in the neighborhood. And there's more. So our suggestion was to go through the variance process. I think the stumbling block is the cost because, when petitioners come in to file for a variance, they have to pay those costs up front. So if she was to ask for the board, Planning Commission couldn't grant, a reduction in fees. Only the board can do that. So if she was to ask for that, it would have to be after she paid it up front, and then it would come back to her if the board approved it. So if there is a desire on the board's part for us to look at those fees with a potential recommendation for a reduction, staff would love to hear that from the board, and we'd be happy to put together a recommendation for you to consider.
If I may, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, trustee.
First of all, I'd like to state that I believe it was Thomas Jefferson, I could be mistaken on that, but there is no such entity as the public. And yes, I did speak out about business friendly, and we speak one way and do another. That was in a total context of the conversation that we had. And yes, I still agree with what I said. What we have tried to done on the Economic Development Committee is, as village manager has stated, reduce several of these issues. This is another issue that we'd be more than willing to take up. You have plenty of opportunity, and I offer the opportunity for you to come and speak to us on this situation here. And I agree, there is issues that are from the past, pre-2006, that we're going to codification, we're looking at all these ordinances on CED. I'm not saying everything you want, you're going to get. Okay, so let's understand that. But these are topics that, going forward, that springboard themselves forward. And I thank you for your comments today. And I did jot down your notes. But for the record, there's a lot of things under signed ordinance that the CED, Economic Development Committee, has brought forward to the full board. The full board discussed them and unanimously ratified and put forward in ordinance form in amendment form, not change, but amendment form, on the sign ordinance, whether it be temporary signs or permanent signs or secondary signs or whatever you want to call them. But we did give our businesses in our community the opportunity for more signage and larger signage at a lot lower cost and a lot less fees for petitioning for the variance. These are other issues that are going to go forward that we'd love on CED to take up. We would, because economic viability is what we want for our businesses. I was a small businessman, okay, so I get it. I understand it. Rooftops understand it. Families understand it.
I would recommend you apply for the variance, get in front of the Plan Commission, have their recommendation come forward to us, and, you know, if you're going to ask as part of your application for reduced fees, ask that at the time you go in front of the Plan Commission. And then it'll come before us, and, you know, the final decision will be made by the trustees. Does anybody really have an issue with what you see out there? Hello?
No.
Okay, so then you know, by spending the money, you're not gonna spend the money and get a negative vote from us, you know? So that would be my recommendation. Fill the paperwork out, get in front of the Plan Commission, and get their okay. And it seems pretty obvious to me that nobody really has an issue with it, so we'll go from there. But that's the process. There is a process. I mean, we just can't skip the process because everybody would go skipping the process, so, and put up whatever they wanted. So, okay, thank you. The next speaker in public comment, Joe, did you want to say anything?
Yes, I'm Joe Marzak. I just want to express my mother's gratitude and thanks to the mayor and the village board on the proclamation celebrating her 90th birthday. Thank you.
Tell her happy birthday from all of us. You know, Rose, for the purpose of the, can you take that down? Okay, the next speaker would be David Galdwich, I think it is? Galwich?
Thank you, Mayor Daley, trustees, and members of the staff. My name's Dave Galwich from Madison Realty Group. I am a consultant for a lender group which foreclosed on Amberfield subdivision. Wanted to take a few minutes to introduce myself. You have an agenda item coming up, a workshop item at the end of your agenda regarding the park and open space parts of the subdivision. We have worked really hard with staff over the last few years to try and make Amberfield a place where we can attract a builder in to complete the subdivision. And staff's been very helpful and very cooperative, and want to thank them for that in getting the subdivision improvements completed, getting a letter of credit called, getting the improvements completed. The one objection that we've had from pretty much everybody we've talked to in the builder community is the last remaining development obligation that's outstanding, which is the park obligation. We think we've worked through with staff something that hopefully will help us attract builders to Amberfield. We think we're actually close with a couple of people that we're talking to, but this, unfortunately, this issue needs to get resolved in order to get any of them to move forward. So I just really want to introduce myself. I'll be here during your discussion. If you should have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them. But also wanted to thank staff for all their assistance in trying to work through all the open issues and getting Amberfield subdivision resolved. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker would be Dennis Gerwin.
Dennis Gerwin, 12250 West Derby Lane, Homer Glen. I want to talk again about the Class O liquor license. I see it's up for a workshop discussion this evening. And I did talk to an attorney from the Liquor Control Commission. And as we know, this is based on the meals and the hotel statute that's within the liquor package, or the liquor statutes. Although a beauty spot, or spa as you want to call it, whatever it is, it's not even close to being connected to these packages, the meal package or the 25-room hotel package. There's nothing specific in the statute pertaining to beauty spas or shops. That's because, as the attorney told me, there's no demand for it. So it was slipped in under the heading of the meal package and the hotel package. The attorney did tell me that if we continue with this license, that we had better monitor it very closely. If they get one complaint, they will raid Homer Glen. That's practically verbatim
Please.
quote.
Please,
Excuse me?
please, they're going to raid Homer Glen?
I'm telling you what he said.
Okay, well, tell him, call me then.
Well, maybe he will.
And I'll tell him to, I'll put him right in touch with our attorneys, okay?
Okay. you can
All
do
right.
it.
Well, that's a direct threat, Mr. Mayor. That's a direct threat.
Go ahead, Dennis, finish up.
It's a reminder that whoever, if we continue with this license, that they must be purchasing their liquor from licensed distributors and keep records on their premises for 90 days. If they run out of something, it's not admissible or easily done to put on the Walgreens and fulfill their needs. Reminder, the National Traffic Safety Board is pushing to get the DUI limit reduced from .08 to .05. If the wine being served is 14.5% alcohol by volume, which is average, if a customer has 2 drinks within an hour, they're legally due a DUI. And obviously, if they have a liquor license, they're going to go after the gaming license. And as far as licenses are concerned, why is this not a Class F license which authorizes the retail sale of beer and wine for consumption on premises? That's a $1,500 license versus $300, which is even cheaper than the state liquor license. You know, if it's that important to their business, they should have to pay for it.
Okay.
Again, I'm going to say, we don't need this license in Homer Glen. One person apparently came in and requested it, using the threats of not opening their shop if they don't get it. The village moved pretty fast on this, I think. My question is, are we cutting corners just to fill a storefront? That appears to be the case. Incidentally, I heard from 2 more towns. I heard now from 113 different towns or villages, 6 of them, or 0.79%, have licenses that allow this. The other 104,
Dennis, wrap it up.
or 92%.
We heard
I'm
this,
almost
we
done.
heard this whole thing at the last meeting.
I know, but you're
All right.
talking about it again tonight. okay?
Yeah, well, you
So
have
the
3 minutes, so
question is,
finish
are
up.
we gonna join the
Finish up.
underwhelming-
Finish up.
Are we going to join the underwhelming minority, or are we going to be the big boys and go with the overwhelming majority? Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You know, I get real tired of people that come up here, and the same people come up here time after time and bash the village. Well, here, I got a list for you, 2 pages long of accomplishments from the village. And I'm going to read it to you now. The Village of Homer Glen's accomplishments from March through September 2013. 143rd and Lamont Road intersection improvement project underway. 1-year extension with New Way resulting in no price increases. New park under development in Aaron Hill subdivision. Victoria Village's expansion project underway. There are 3 new buildings being built. IDOT approved the Phase 1 engineering for the proposed Goodings Grove Hero Trails extension project. Myers project is on schedule. The building well started going up August 8th. Work has begun on 7 drainage projects improvements in Homer Glen. Staff submitted TAP and ITEP grant applications for the Heroes Trail expansion. Village receives grant to conduct community-wide tree service. Richards Building Supply to go through the Plan Commission in order to move their corporate headquarters to Homer Glen. So this is 2 pages long. So why don't you look at the positive of Homer Glen instead of keep coming up here every single time reiterating the negative of Homer Glen. Next speaker, Michelle Coakley.
I'm sorry, I was just here for the 5K.
Okay.
Well, no, I like Michelle. Please tell about the 5K.
Oh, you want me to talk about it?
If you would like to say a couple words about when it is and all that, yeah, sure.
I have like a 5-minute speech. No, just kidding. Hi, I'm Michelle Coakley. I'm a State Farm agent here in Homer Glen. I'm also the secretary of the Homer Founders Club. We have had a run since 2007, typically just following a 9/11 ceremony for fun. In 2010, I took over the event and started to certify the course, professionally time the event, all that great stuff. In 2012, we really maxed out our location from a traffic safety and parking. We really maxed out our location. So I started to look for a location where we could make it bigger, better, and have better opportunity to give back to a charity that is military related. So this year we approached Mr. Watkono and we asked about doing a pumpkin run. Of course, what brings people to Homer Glen more than pumpkins, right? So we started to talk about a pumpkin run with Walt. We talked about different opportunities for courses, and we've come up with a great course we think that will challenge runners. There's a lot of great hills on Division Street, and it shows off his property as well. So that's what our race is. We're this year, September 21st, gonna do the run, hopefully, and we're obviously on the agenda for later, but just looking forward to giving back to Operation Care Package. The Homer Founders Club is just all about giving back. We've built the
Healing Garden.
Healing Garden. Thank you, Mayor. And so much more for the community. So Operation Care Package is a great charity, and we look forward to giving back more and more every year. So
Thank you.
thanks.
Yep. The last speaker would be Bernie Kucharski.
Bernard Kaharski, 13730 Long Run Drive, Homer Glen. This isn't a complaint, and this isn't a compliment. I've noticed a number of signs up for variances around the village, especially in the Speedway gas stations. But when you go to the website under Transparency or the Planning Commission, there is no mention of these signs till 2 days before the Planning Commission meets. I can't see if you can put a sign up on a piece of property that says there is a special public hearing on that piece of property. You can't put that on the website under the Planning Commission's header, not for an agenda, but just as a notice that there's a public hearing, so that people may not go right past that, or when they go past it, they can't read the sign. If they go to the website, they may be able to see it. Thank you.
Thank you. Cam, you want to just address that real quick?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, and we'll start doing it.
Okay.
I think so too.
Perfect.
I think it's a great idea.
Okay.
Obviously, a lot of people call in. And talk to Erin, and Erin goes. I hear it because she's right across from me, so she goes through the explanations and stuff when they see signs. But obviously, a lot of people maybe don't want to call, and so we'll work on that and get it out.
Okay.
Yeah,
Great.
that's a good idea.
Okay, that concludes public comment. The next portion of this meeting is legislation and action items. This would be, let's see here, I-1. Is there a motion to approve 3 special event applications for the Founders Club 5K race, Kono's Farm Maze, and LTHS 35th class reunion, which will be held on the Kono Farm property? It's understood that the approval of these special event applications will exceed the village's established limit of 2 allowed special event occurrences per calendar year for each zoning lot, as spelled out in ordinance number 08-040.
So moved.
First by trustee Kajanis,
Second.
second by trustee Yukich. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Janis.
Aye.
Trustee Sabo.
Aye.
Trustee Suisse.
Aye.
Trustee Yukich.
Aye.
Trustee Costa.
Aye.
Trustee DeVivo.
Aye.
Motion carries. This would be I-2. Is there a motion to approve the closure of 167th Street between Cedar Road and Parker Road is shown on the attached map for the Homer Founders Club 5K race on Saturday, September 21st, 2013, between the hours of 8 a.m. and 11 a.m., or until the roads are reopened by the Will County Sheriff's Department and EMA traffic control personnel.
So moved.
First by trustee Costa, or trustee Yukich. Second by trustee Costa. Is there any discussion?
Mayor, I just wanted to point out, Lockport is, we mentioned in the report, Lockport is aware of this. The city of Lockport, they've been very cooperative, very supportive, and so they are aware of it and they support it.
Good.
And one other thing there, all the residents have been notified that live off 167th Street, so this way, no matter what, they can get in and out of their houses, so they're not put off for a few hours. So it works out perfect for everybody.
Okay, great.
I have a comment.
Sure.
Do they need, like, because we do special events too, are they covered by an insurance, so to protect the village or public property because it's on a street? You know, when the highway department's involved, I don't know, is that necessary?
Mayor, I can have Jim.
Oh, okay. Just, okay.
Okay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Sabo.
Aye.
Trustee Suisse.
Aye.
Trustee Yukich.
Aye.
Trustee Costa.
Aye.
Trustee DeVivo.
Aye.
Trustee Janis.
Aye.
Okay, this would be I-3. Is there a motion to assign a Class E liquor license, temporary license, to Assumption Greek Orthodox Church for Sunday, September 22nd, and for Assumption Greek Night Picnic located at 15625 South Bell Road, Homer Glen?
So moved.
First by trustee Janis,
Second.
second by trustee DeVivo. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Suisse.
Aye.
Trustee Yukich.
Aye.
Trustee Costa.
Aye.
Trustee DeVivo.
Aye.
Trustee Janis.
Aye.
Trustee Sabo.
Aye.
Motion carries. Good luck with your event, Father. Okay, this would be I-4. Is there a motion to change the October 8th Village Board meeting start time from 7:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. for the benefit of the Community and Nature and Harmony Award ceremony?
I so moved.
First by trustee Sabo,
Second.
second by trustee Costa. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Yukich.
Aye.
Trustee Costa.
Aye.
Trustee DeVivo.
Aye.
Trustee Janis.
Aye.
Trustee Sabo.
Aye.
Trustee Suisse.
Aye.
Motion carries. This would be I-5. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 13-051, a text amendment to ordinance 08-048 entitled "The Village of Homer Glen Zoning Ordinance," amending the table of permitted and special uses in the non-residential districts?
So moved.
First by trustee Janis,
Second.
second by trustee DeVivo. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Trustee Sabo?
I had objected before to the across-the-board, or C1 to all the way C6, for carry-out restaurants. I had expressed my displeasure with having it in closer to residential areas, like C1, and there are some C2s, especially along 143rd Street and probably in other areas. And so I had hoped that we would give more consideration to our residents being affected anywhere by this permitted use instead of being a special use.
Okay, thank you.
I have a comment as well, because
Trustee Suisse?
I feel somewhat similar. I support trustee Sabo. I would rather see this as a C3 and higher, so that we, and maybe drop the fee a little bit for special use, but still have a little bit say-so when it's closer to residential.
Well, you're going to have say-so anyway. Any plans are going to come in front of you that you can say at that time that they're inappropriate for the area based upon where the drive-up would be located. I mean, you have ultimate control over that. It's just putting it in a zoning classification in the event that it works at that location.
And we also, Mr. Mayor, if I may
Go ahead,
add
Trustee
this,
KJ.
we understand under a C1, if it is a drive-through location, not a carryout, drive-through locations would have to go through a special use. Anyway, on the C1, it would have to come through the village board on this, if I'm not mistaken on that.
Right, your drive-through's not permitted.
On a C1, or C2, or C3, there would be a drive-through special use anyway on the special use permits, correct? If I'm not mistaken on this?
Drive-throughs are not allowed in C1.
Right, unless it came through a special use.
They would be, they're not allowed.
No.
Not allowed,
They're
C2.
a special use in C2 and C3.
In C2,
So,
C3.
yeah, so
I
you
said
have,
C1, but I meant C2 and
right,
C3.
right. I
So
knew-
it would have to come through the full
you
board
have
anyway.
you have protection on drive-throughs.
We do. So
Right.
C1 it's not anyway, but
Right.
C2 and C3, it would have to come through the full board. Excuse me. Got a
Actually,
little
it would have to
tongue-tied
come
on
through
that.
all of them. The way it reads, it goes C2 through C5. C1 is the only one that's not permitted at all.
Right.
Correct. So you have all the protections in place. It just shows a potential business that if it can work out and if the village board doesn't object to it, it's a permitted use in the zoning district. And it's just another economic tool to say, hey, bring it forward to us and we'll see if it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't, you know. So anyway, any further discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee DeVivo?
Aye.
Trustee Kajianis?
Aye.
Trustee Sabo?
No.
Trustee Suisse?
No.
Trustee Yukich?
Aye.
Motion, do I have to vote on that one? Motion carries. Okay, this would be I-6. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 13-050, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of a special use to permit a planned unit development and a special use permit to let's start this one over. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 13-050, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of a special use to permit a planned unit development and a special use to permit the co-location and operation of a wireless communications facility on an existing cell tower in a C1 neighborhood commercial zoning district at 12320 and 12330 through 12330 West 143rd Street, Homer Glen, Illinois, AT&T Wireless, conditioned upon two items outlined in the ordinance document.
So moved.
First by trustee DeVivo,
Second.
second by trustee Kajianis. Is there any discussion?
Mayor, I just wanted to point out real quick, because I know that you like to know when a representative is in the audience. Amy, and Amy, I might mess up your last name. My apologies. Is it Valu? Valu, very good. All right. Is from SBA Site Services. So she's representing the petitioner tonight if you have any questions for her.
Okay,
Aaron is also available if you have any questions.
okay. Is there any questions?
Actually, I do.
Trustee Yukich?
My main concern in this is there's already everything's there, you're just adding on to it. But the one thing that I did drive by.
Why don't you step up to the microphone for us?
I did drive by, and the landscaping on it right now is not very good at all. And it's been that way for a long time. What our concern is, you have residents that live around this area, they have to look at it every day. I have a tower in my business, and it's the exact same way. They came in and they did a beautiful job when they put it in. That's the last time I ever saw them. Now it looks like crap. No one lives there. I don't look at it, but the residents do. I want to make sure that if this is done, that they keep up on it. And if they don't keep up on it, then I think the village should have a chance to go ahead and either do it for them and charge back. But the only way that we have to make sure that they just follow up on what they say they're going to do. I mean, we're giving them the opportunity to make a lot more money on this thing, and that's exactly what the tower's for. The more you add on, the more you charge. I expect it to be kept up.
I can't agree with you more, trustee Yukich, on that. Is there a performance bond on this or a warranty on landscape around this
So
tower?
the ordinance specifically says how many arborvitae are to be planted, all right? So It's in the ordinance. So if one of them dies, we're going to make them replant it. Simple as that.
Who
And we-
trims them, who keeps it up, who removes all the weeds?
If
Who
they're not-
maintains it? Because
right.
just having the bushes there
Right.
is squat.
I totally understand that. If they, typically if there's weeds, the weeds typically exceed our ordinance height, and so John can ticket them, and we'll ticket them. He tickets.
So it's
people all the time.
basically the code enforcer that
Right.
we have ordinances and we
Right.
send John by and,
Right. And your
if-
protection on the arborvitae is that it's listed in the ordinance, the exact number. So we'll make sure if one of them dies, two of, because they die. I mean, especially arborvitaes. If they die, we'll make them replace them.
Okay.
Okay. Is there any further discussion?
I have a question.
Trustee Suisse?
The on-site generator, that's something new that you're going to be putting there? Because it shows the Plan Commission suggested that you do not run this between 4 PM and 8 AM. Is that, if I'm in my yard, am I going to be hearing some kind of hum?
The generator only needs to run once a month to make sure that it's able to run. If the tower loses power, that's what the generator's for. So the service at that tower continues. The power usually comes in with regular electricity lines.
So it's basically a backup generator?
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
The
So-
Plan Commission just didn't want
And-
them testing it during those hours.
Yeah.
So
And-
we only have to test it once a month
Yeah.
for like 10 minutes. And
Yeah.
those are the time windows when we would do that.
I have a backup generator at my house and it has to go off at once a week, be tested. It runs for 10 minutes. Same theory, you know. So anyway, any further questions? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
I do.
Okay. Hey, Trustee Sabo, you need to speak up a little bit because I don't mean to pass you over, but I can't hear you.
Well, I did say it quietly. Is this better?
Go right ahead.
Okay, well, one of the conditions is 12 arborvitae trees. I mean, that's a nice gesture, but usually that doesn't really screen very much. My concern is for the setbacks. They're awfully, and we don't find that out. We don't find that we have 4 exemptions until we get to page 3. It's on page 3 and 6. And I would like the board to look at that very carefully because those differences are very great. And they do bring the equipment and the setbacks really very close to the perimeter of the property. I mean, we've got some difference here. It's 89 feet. It's 79, it's 68, and all of this is to accommodate the large equipment. I saw that one residence objected, one residence had it right, and that was that this is not the right location to do this. So it's an inappropriate location, and there's a lot of exposure there on 143rd Street.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Costa?
Aye.
Trustee DeVivo?
Aye.
Trustee Kijaniis?
Aye.
Trustee Sabo?
No.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Yukich?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, that concludes our legislation and action items. Sorry about that. Got a lot going on here tonight. The next portion of this meeting will be workshop items. There's tonight, Village Manager Davis will present to the Village Board a brief overview of the proposed draft agreement that has been negotiated by village staff and village attorney in conjunction with the owner of the Amberfield Open Space Nature Area property. Manager Davis, go right ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. While Janie is handing out the PowerPoint for the board to follow along, I would just, Dave's sitting over there in the audience, just like to thank him for his kind words about working with staff and working with the attorney. We appreciate the relationship. They're a very professional organization. So this, you have a copy of the PowerPoint in front of you, and earlier I put a copy of the draft agreement that village attorney Mark Stark and staff and the owner's attorneys have worked on. Appreciate Mark's help on this draft very much. So what I thought I'd do just real quickly, this PowerPoint is only a couple pages long, and just kind of go through the highlights. I've added a couple maps just for the public's benefit so that we all know what we're talking about. So the blue in this map on the screen is the Amberfield subdivision. It's a great subdivision. at the very top is a portion that's outlined in pink on this map, and that was the area that was originally talked about in terms of being a kind of a passive recreational park. There it is. Now we're referring to it as open space nature area, and I'll talk about that in a moment. This is another map, and what this shows actually is the northern part of the subdivision. On this one, just to confuse you, instead of the park, previously park area being pink, it's now green. And then the area underneath the park area is highlighted in pink in this map, and that's actually the detention areas that are owned by the homeowners association. So if this agreement goes through and ultimately is approved, actually that whole area that you see in the green and the pink will then be deeded over to the homeowners association for them to have into perpetuity and keep as a nature area going forward. So that's a little bit for, the board is aware of that, but I wanted the public to be able to see that. So here's a couple highlights. I think there's maybe eight or nine. The draft agreement has been prepared by the village attorneys, village staff, attorneys for the owners of the Homer Glen Amber SB1 LLC, and the Amberfield at Homeowner Glen Homeowners Association. So everybody has been involved. The lot number 19, which we're now calling the open space nature area, is deeded by the owner to the Amberfield and Homer Glen Homeowners Association by this agreement. As a matter of fact, I think that deeding has to happen like within a week, 5 days to a week after a village board approval. So it happens very quickly. The Homeowners Association, the village, and the owner agree that lot number 19, the open space nature area, should remain as open space and utilized in perpetuity as an open space nature area. Homeowners Association shall have no obligation to create a park on lot 19. This is all highlighted in the agreement. And most of this language you notice is on page 3 and a little bit on page 4. Okay, that means I have to hurry up, I guess. I don't know what that is. All right. The owner and the homeowners association and the village agree that any and all subsequent parties that build units in the subdivision, so in other words, builders, will be responsible for paying the village's park donation fee. Okay, now that park donation fee is required for 27 units. They're all listed in the agreement, located on the 9 remaining lots, including the 3-unit building that was built on lot 2 but was never occupied. So there's a building on the north end of the subdivision. Beautiful. It looks like all the rest of them from the outside, except the yard maybe isn't quite as nice. That was built, but it was never occupied. So they're agreeing that that building also will pay the park donation fees. Subsequent parties that build units in the subdivision, builders, will pay the park donation fee in place at the time the building permit is issued for said units. And finally, subsequent party that builds, the builder, units in the subdivision will be able to pay the village's park donation fees at the earliest of the following. So either the issuance of the certificate of occupancy or 365 days after the building permit is issued. So in other words, they basically have either to when they sell it or 365 days to pay the park donation fees. As you might imagine, as the economy recovers, in these multifamily developments, where we have attached single family, when they come in at building permit time, they have to lay down all of the permit fees at one time. So what the owner is asking is that the future builders be given the opportunity for cash flow purposes to pay that either when they sell it or within 365 days. And then, of course, the agreement will absolutely be recorded with Will County, which the agreement specifies. Mark Sturck is here today, and he did a lot of work on this, so you can certainly ask me questions or ask Mark. And David is in the audience, too. He spoke to you earlier. We'd be happy to answer your questions. Ideally, what we would really like to do, because you heard from David that they're trying to move the subdivision along and trying to market it to buyers. We actually would like to put this on your agenda for the next village board meeting so that you can take action on it. So Mayor, that ends the presentation.
Thank you. I'd just like to say the Amberfield subdivision It's nice to have gotten the final lift down, get this issue behind us here shortly, have somebody that's willing to take it over, market it, get occupancies of these buildings, and it's one down and a whole bunch more to go. So, all right, we'll get it on the next village agenda. Does anybody have any questions? All right, thank you, Cam. The next workshop item is discussion regarding village attorney's review of liquor licenses and special use permits.
Mayor, I would just say the village attorney has provided the village board with an initial review. I believe he's still looking, Mark, please correct me. Well, Mark, I'll let you speak for yourself. Go ahead.
That's
if you
right,
could.
Cam, you're doing fine.
All right. I think he's still reviewing all of the special use permits going back to the start of the village that involve liquor. And his intention is to provide the board with a second memo giving suggestions and recommendations. But we know that you've been patiently waiting for some information, so we wanted to get this first memo out to you. Mark or I would be happy to entertain any questions you have.
Does anybody have any questions for the village attorney? I know they're compiling information on just about everything with the liquor licenses and special use permits, so they're not complete yet, so if you have a question you want to ask it, go right ahead.
And I just say thanks, Mark. I know we've thrown a lot at you. There's a lot of questions we have and a lot of questions that the residents have on this issue. And also, I had a few comments and questions that you answered in the past week or so. So I think once we read all of this and get all of your findings at one time, I think our questions may come up at one time rather than go back and forth. At least for me it is anyway.
Okay, thank you, and as you know, you're always free to call me at the office.
Generally, I'll go through Cam, but thank you.
Yeah.
Generally, I'll go through Cam, but thank you.
Yeah, don't call him, I don't want to have to pay the bill.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
Go
unfortunately,
through
we
the
have to
village
say yes to
manager,
the
we'll
bills.
handle a whole
Thank
bunch
you,
at one
Trustee
time.
Costa. Thank you, Trustee Costa.
It's like a bird dog in here.
Next time your phone call pops up on the bill. The first time.
There you go.
No, and
That won't be the last.
Mr. Mayor, on this, until the report, Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
until the report is complete, I will personally reserve any comment or questions.
Okay. Okay, are there any questions for Mark, the village manager? All right. Then the workshop items are complete. Is there any old business?
Mr. Mayor, yes. I'd like to entertain old business here. And I'd like to have a motion, if we may, to rescind the King Brothers extension from our last meeting due to some situations that have come to arise as of, in my eyes, as of this afternoon, that I witnessed. I'd like us to revisit that special use permit and the extensions that we gave by 1 year.
So your motion is a motion to
rescind.
reconsider?
Reconsider.
Yeah, motion to reconsider. Is there a second?
Mayor, by seconding the motion, does that give us the opportunity to discuss that?
Yes.
or- Oh,
Mhm.
okay, then I second.
So we have a first and a second. We'll open it up for discussion. It's come to light in my eyes, too. I visited the site since the last meeting, and I actually have pictures on my phone if anybody would like to see them. What was told to us at the last meeting simply was not the case. I recall conversations of 3 cars being there. There's hardly anybody there. There's only 3 cars there. Well, today at 3:30, there was 14 cars there, 2 hi-hos, a couple of big vehicles like Mack trucks. So what was said was not accurate. What really concerned me when I looked at it was that, and I don't blame the, I think what you have to understand is that when the fire district says that they want to follow fire codes, they're not explaining the whole picture to you, what have you. So when I went by, I saw, a big asphalt pile higher than this building, which is a petroleum product in a watershed right there. I saw a burn pile that was probably within 25 feet of the garage they have there. I saw a 4 to 5 foot vent, metal vent off the top of the building, meaning there's some type of heating mechanism in there. And the place was not portrayed correctly in this last meeting, that there's only 3 cars there. There's a lot of cars there. I count 14 on my telephone. Now, other trustees have had the opportunity to go by there after this, because we were just wondering, why would the fire department, mandate this? Well, it's part of their code, but the proximity of all this is very proximate to this commercial building. This garage that I refer to is probably, I'm eyeballing it, and I'm not going to get out and go right up with a tape measure, but probably 40 feet from the commercial building, which is no longer a residential building. And like I said, it has a vent on the roof, which means there is some type of heating device in there. So, I mean, what I would like to see is, we have a first and a second. I'm not asking you for a vote tonight. I would like to see us table this extension till you can go out and see the site yourself, in case you haven't visited it, and maybe even talk with the fire district as to the importance of what they were trying to, say here the other night, at the last meeting. So with that, I open up for discussion. Trustee Yukich?
Thank you. First off, 14 cars. I mean, the man still has a landscaping business, so you still have to have employees that have to get to work.
He told us at the meeting last that he has 3 employees there. That what do you call it? That's all that's ever there.
Well, he said 3 to 5 working in the building.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
right. But I mean, even 14 cars. If you're doing landscaping, you're not doing it there. You're doing it at someone's house.
I had to almost back out, George.
Okay.
I could barely turn my car around. So I know there's concerns with the fire department. I oftentimes, hear quite a few complaints about materials that are stored in watersheds. My concern over a pile of ground-up asphalt. Well, you'd have to go see it to understand the size of what I'm talking about.
And
So I'm not saying, that these people, shouldn't get some time to put a suppression system in. But what I'm saying is, you have to see it in order to get the whole picture of what's going on.
Okay.
I mean, there was also a piece of machinery that was within probably 15 feet of the building that had the extension on it. What's the word I'm looking for? The stack. Yeah. I mean, now a vehicle that close to that building that has something in it that needs a stack on it, runs on diesel. It was a Hi-Ho. So, I mean, there may be things that can be done to get through this in an expedient fashion, but I think we need to go and see what the heck is going on, and,
And I don't disagree with you at all on it, but I mean, there's still a few things that everyone still has to take into consideration. When the man bought the house, he bought it as a residential unit. He came into the village to get a permit. He was told he had to go to a industrial type. That's what brought him in the loop of changing over the building to accommodate the sprinkler systems and everything else.
Commercial.
All right,
Yeah, it
so
went to
with that
commercial.
being said, though, at the same time, I look at the city of Chicago, who's probably the most stringent people in the area of what you have to do when you're going to do any kind of a building. And a couple of years ago, they were saying that all condos, all businesses, everything had to put fire suppression systems in, and now they pulled it off the table, and residents don't have to. So now you have buildings that maybe in apartments you might have 1,500, 2,000 people in, they don't have to put a water suppression system in anymore. Businesses still do if the business sells and goes into another one, but these people are going into that business with the knowledge of knowing that that's what they have to do. This guy didn't know it, and he's still going to do it. And the only thing that I'm trying to put across here is anyone that goes into business, honestly, for the first time, does not know what they're doing until they get into business. That's when everything comes at you with both barrels saying that, you've got to do this, you've got to do this, you've got to do this. So I will go by and take a look and see what it is. And if it's something that they do have to address, then that would be something that John Robinson would have to do, and just for code enforcement to get that thing straightened out.
Well, I would suggest you go in the place too to see the size of the building. It's a very good sized building,
And I
and
agree.
the way everything's laid out, it's an accident waiting to happen, and I just want the thing to be done correctly, and, you know, they were given a year to comply. There was a sympathetic issue, hardship that they presented to us as far as a financial hardship, which, by the way, a financial hardship is not a hardship. It's a business plan that was not correctly done. They were permitted to have a fire suppression system and alarm system. They were given a year to put it in. They did nothing within that year. They came back a second time and got another year for the same thing. I went out to take a look at it. I know Trustee K. Janice went out there and take a look at it. I believe Trustee DeVivo looked at it, and you need to take a peek at this thing.
Okay.
Okay.
What I saw, Mr. Mayor, I put the motion forward, so I'd like to say a few things. Is one thing I
You
didn't.
need to speak up.
One thing I didn't notice last time I was out there, before this came about until today, this late afternoon, I saw piles of asphalt, which is an oil base substance. In my estimation, was asphalt substance that was in the middle of the fields, randomly, without purpose, placed there. I saw open trash dump placed out there with whatever materials that were in there. I saw a lot of issues that are right next to a watershed of that concern me as well. You know, I wanted to table this motion last meeting so we could have some rational insight and research on this, and at that point in time, there was no hope. We passed it as a board, but I did want to table it. I'm hoping that we have an opportunity to kind of, and I hate to use this term, but I like to put this on the table for us to revisit and reconsider
That's what
this extension. I really do. It's a rational thing to do. There's too many extraneous situations that are going on here that I think need our attention, not only on life safety, but pro-business and every other emotions we could place on this subject. And then we got to talk about what is good for Homer Glen and that watershed that we have right behind it or right next to it. I think it's a rational thing to do. At this point in time, and as far as businesses in Chicago has their own problems. We have our own problems. The state of Illinois has their own problems. The country has their own problems. I don't want to be a nanny government for every business. I like to knock down barriers to the business, but I don't want to knock down laws that we're not entitled to knock down. That might be federal government laws, U.S. Code safety laws. You know, I don't know what else to say about that, but I hope this committee, this board does recognize the rational
I think they
approach
do.
to this.
So what I would do is entertain a table. Trustee DeVivo?
I have a comment. I never really thought about the fact that the types of materials that they might be storing there. I know I asked the questions and they seemed like they didn't really understand what I was asking at the meeting that they were here, the Kane brothers were here. What are they storing? Is it on the ground? Is it open? I mean, you're bringing up a good point. This is the Spring Creek watershed, and it does have natural springs under there. It's very possible that they need to be monitored a little closer than we were looking before. But I have another question beside that is, since this board voted to give them this extension, is there any liability with that the village might have if something does happen and we've gone against the fire code? I just was curious about that. I mean, I'd like to give them an opportunity to put the fire system in, but maybe a year is too much because we're not
Well, there's a
watching things.
I'm sorry. There's a law called the Local Governmental and Governmental Employees Tort Immunity Act, and the Tort Immunity Act immunizes units of local government and their officers from certain types of, from liability arising from certain types of conduct. And in this situation, you're involved in what's essentially a legislative enactment So there is no liability that would attach to the town or to any of you under this limited circumstance.
So the motion to reconsider had a first and a second. What I'm asking for is a table until you can go out there and see it, and we can revisit this at the very next meeting.
So you need a motion to table.
Trustee
There is a
Sabo?
motion.
I have,
No, you can't make a motion.
No, I didn't say that.
No,
You need it.
No,
Mayor
I-
just
there
said-
is a motion.
Excuse me. There's a motion, a second to reconsider, and there's discussion. What the mayor said was, ask for a motion to table, and I said, you need someone to make a motion to table, not that he can make the motion.
Yeah, I didn't make a motion to.
I thought I did.
I haven't.
No,
handed
you
out-
made a motion to reconsider. Now
Oh.
we're making a motion
Okay.
that somebody has to bring.
I would like
I got
Let me
it. I
finish.
understand now.
Then you have to have a motion to table, to bring, to put the brakes on this thing, to let everybody get a chance to go out there and take a peek at it.
I follow.
And then it'll come back at the next meeting after everybody sees it. Go ahead, trustee Sabo.
Okay, first of all, we're talking about two different issues. Two different issues. The last board meeting, it had to do with the inside of the building and what the fire department required. That's what we voted on, and we voted to give them a year's extension. Now something else has come up, and which is the outside, which we did not really address at the last meeting. And so I don't think that the two things are related right now. And I believe that as far as tabling or reconsidering or something, we should not be mixed up with the outside. So,
Well, the whole thing about the two issues is they are reasons why you need a suppression system. If you're storing equipment so close to a commercial building that a fire could break out, or a fuel that is used, diesel fuel that's used in the hi-ho, or having that hi-ho so close to a building that has to have a stack on it for some type of heating device. I mean, yeah, you are talking about being almost on top, you have to see it, almost on top of the commercial building.
Mayor, if I
Well,
could
I
just,
would
if I
like
just
to-
say
I
one
would
thing real
like to
quick.
see this.
The reason why they're together.
Excuse
Wait,
me.
wait.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to clarify why they relate to each other. The reason why you were discussing the fire protection is that was a condition on their special use permit for outdoor storage. That's how they're linked together. They were seeking a special use permit for outdoor storage, and the Plan Commission and you put a special condition on that required them to sprinkler and have an alarm system, and to do the code enforcement items, which they already took care of. So I just wanted to clarify, that's why they're linked together.
Okay, go ahead and
Well,
finish.
Sorry
trustee
for the
Sabo.
Well,
interruption.
first of all, I would like that this outside issue treated like we would treat anybody else. They have to be told what to do, or they have to be written up, whatever is required for their violations.
But do you follow what Cam's trying to say? The condition of how they originally got their permit was specific upon the entire property. That's what he tried to explain to you.
Yes, I heard that.
Okay, so they are very much linked, and they are in a significant violation outside. And on the inside, we didn't follow the codes of the fire department. Those are the codes that are adopted for everybody that's in the village, okay? The fact is, I have no idea how these guys got a break on this thing, but they are linked by the way we approved it. And Cam just explained that to you.
Well,
Trustee
I do that.
Costa.
I just feel that they should be given the opportunity to clean up the outside and give it, and give a certain number of time to do it.
No,
Instead of just saying, hey, we're gonna table this, or we're going to reconsider their 1-year extension.
Well, there is a motion to reconsider, and there is a second. I believe trustee Costa wanted to say something?
Yeah, I agree with trustee Sabo. I mean, we are talking about two different things. Fire system or no fire system, if they're in violation of storing goods on the property too close to a building, they should be cited for it. That's bottom line. If they had the fire suppression system in there, and let's think out of the box here, would we be going over there and saying that there's things being stored there illegally or too close to a building? The issue here is what we're rescinding, or what we're asking to do, is rescinding the extension for the system, for the fire protection system. That's the issue we should be talking about. Everything else should be code enforcement, in my opinion. The second thing, too, is this was not on the agenda. How can we vote on anything that has not been posted for the people to be here and talk to us about?
I'll let the village attorney address
Yeah,
that.
there's no problem with the motion to reconsider that being on the agenda,
mo-
because it is part of old business. I understand your issue, but otherwise there'd be no way for anybody to bring up a motion to reconsider a prior action item.
And my understanding, Mike, is that motion to reconsider can only take place at the very next meeting.
Great.
Okay. So does that mean, Mr. Mayor, if I could ask that any decision this board makes tonight, that we can reconsider at the next board meeting?
Very next meeting, yes.
So any resident that walks out or any business owner that thinks that they're okay to do business, that they can, that the next meeting, we can turn around and stop them.
That's absolutely right. Right. Any decision that's taken by any parliamentary body at a meeting can be reconsidered at the next meeting.
But this
And I think the
You may take this.
I didn't write the rule.
I know you're gonna, everybody's gonna, some people are gonna take this wrong, but
That's just the rule.
someone's gonna take this one wrong, this comment, but we had to dig pretty deep on this one. I'm sorry. That's my opinion. If it's a rule, if it's a law, then it's a law, and it can be exercised, but we had to dig pretty deep on this situation. Thank you.
Trustee Costa, it's a basic rule.
I agree, a basic rule, but we had to dig pretty deep on this one. There's a reason.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Is there a motion to table pending you get the ability to get out there and see it?
Well, you know, what I'd like to bring up before that is there's all these comments flowing back and forth, and I'm listening to them, and I could probably agree with all the comments. But I think at the end of the day, it's a rational decision we have to make here. We have a business, we want to encourage business and the small entrepreneur spirit. I do understand that, and I appreciate that and respect that. But this is considered also a public domain, and it also is on a property that could infringe upon other people's rights as well. And I do believe other people in our community have equal protection of these rights and not to be infringed on, whether they understand the ramifications of what is happening here in this meeting or not. I think we do understand the ramifications, and I do believe the ramifications after sight this afternoon, there is some concern, and I do believe what I saw was an asphalt pile that could be, if it is an asphalt pile, in my understanding, it could be flammable. It could also be hazardous material to the environment, and I think, you know, into our watershed. I believe with the conditions that we had placed a year ago, now let's also understand, we placed conditions a year ago, and they're asking for another year extension. It's almost like getting a 2-year free loan from a bank to operate business without having to pay up or ante up for your business. So let's understand that. I don't know any bank that would do that for you. But that's basically what we're doing. We had 1 year, and now we're asking, or we had a motion last meeting that passed to give them another year. There is conditions that have been discovered as of, by me, trustee K. Janice, that actually give me a second pause on this condition. That's why I brought this motion up to reconsider. And actually, I would like to bring up a motion to table this to the next meeting. And, you know, I think that's rational. I don't think any motion that we've ever had and any vote we've ever had needs to be brought up for reconsideration. But I do believe this could be one of those situations that it was a tense situation. I believe that we need to reconsider, and I make a motion to table it.
Okay, is there a second to table?
Here we go again. No table.
Is there a second to motion to table?
I want to make a comment.
You have to make a second on the motion, and there's no discussion on the motion. There is. On the motion to table.
Well, for a comment, I'll withdraw my motion at this time.
Okay.
I make a
Then-
motion to adjourn.
Second. You can't.
Yes, we can.
No, you can't.
You can make a motion to adjourn.
Not with a
anytime.
penny
Any
motion.
motion.
No.
They
I
just
have a
said-
motion on the table to reconsider.
He
So,
withdrew his motion.
Marcia, what do you have to say?
Well, again, the concern that I had, I was uncomfortable with voting on this because my concern is that we don't really, the municipality does not seem to have an oversight. I mean, we asked these people to install this system as quickly as possible, and maybe that year was too long. Maybe we should have done something on a shorter term, maybe 90 days or something, so that we would feel more comfortable, with them actually installing this and not waiting until they did it whenever they felt like it. That is a concern. But and then, on the other hand, I said that before. I don't want to see businesses go under because of these strict rules that we have. So I'm really torn between the two, and I quite honestly would probably, if this were to go to a vote present and vote with the majority of the board.
Okay, so there's a motion to reconsider, and trustee K. Janus withdrew his table to allow you to speak. Is there a motion to table?
I still have
Oh,
a
go
comment.
ahead, trustee Sabo.
And my comment is, we are not giving these people a chance to clean up the outside. And I think that there should be some communication with them about the outside. And rather than just jump on this and say, we want to reconsider that one-year extension, I believe we are not being fair to this business.
Well, I do. So, anyway, there's a motion to reconsider. Is there a motion to table? I'm going to ask it one more time. Is there a motion to table until the trustees can get out there and see this thing?
I'll make a motion to table.
Okay, a motion, the first to table is trustee K. Janus. Is there a second? I'll ask again, is there a second? I'll ask for the third final time, is there a second? Motion fails. The motion to reconsider fails.
No, the motion to table fails for lack of a second. So now you have the motion to reconsider, you have a motion and a second on.
Oh, so we have to go back to that motion? Okay.
The discussion's concluded. So, yes, if you want to reconsider it, no, if you don't.
Okay, so there is a motion that we have to vote on to reconsider. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee K. Janus?
Aye.
Trustee Sabo?
No.
Trustee Suisse?
No.
Trustee Yukich?
No.
Trustee Costa?
Nay.
Trustee DeVivo?
I'll vote present.
Okay, motion fails.
Motion fails. Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
You know what, that was under old business. I take that back. Is there any new business? No? Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
First by trustee Yukich.
Second.
Second by trustee Costa. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Meeting adjourned.